movie back with Mel Gibson, the bubble inside that dome.
I can just welcome everybody. Hopefully you're checking this out. Hopefully this is working. I've got Kenny with Eagle Eye Shooting here, as well as Walter with Coats Brothers Firearms. They've both got great channels, and I'm trying. Yeah, here we go, live stream. I've got Kenny with Eagle Eye Shooting. Trying to mute my stuff. They've both got great channels. They're both into long range shooting and reloading. Both of those guys actually cast their own ammunition, something I have yet to get into, but I definitely want to. But they're both really awesome dudes, full of awesome information, and I kind of want to just hang out with everybody, and we're going to have a chat. Awesome. We got some comments rolling through. Kenny and Walter, did you guys have access to the comments? Are you able to see what's going on?
Yeah, it looks like I can see those.
Tim on board. James forward.
All right.
On, Tim?
Real quick, people who are watching the stream, is the stream quality good? Are you able to hear us all? Are we good? Looks good. Hello, fellow gunners. Yes, good. So cool. We're getting all positive feedback.
All right, good deal.
So let's start with Walter. Introduce yourself. Tell us where you're at, what you like to do, what's going on your side of things, man.
All right. Well, my name is Walter. I'm the one half of Coats Brothers Firearms. We're into a lot of stuff. We like to do the precision long-range rifle stuff, but man, I'm real big into casting bullets. I'm a big revolver and lever gun fan. Kind of do it all. About the only thing I'm really not into is like the whole AR-15 thing. It's just not my shtick. But other than that, lots of bullet casting, reloading. Kind of you name it, we do it. But out here in Western Oregon, and I'm just glad you guys had me along for the ride tonight. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, dude, not a problem at all. I'm glad you could make it. Like I was telling everybody, you're really similar to what I've got going on as well, so I just thought it was a great fit. Kenny, why don't you run us through where you're at, what you've got going on, what have you been up to?
Sure. My name's Kenny, and my little channel is Eagle Eye Shooting. Originally from California. Those have been following. I managed to get out of that jail cell, so I'm pretty happy about that. And now I'm in a hotter climate. I'm in Arizona, and I'm able to shoot out in the desert too. So that's kind of funny. Was as a shooter, and anyways, what I like to do, I love long range shooting. I just got into doing it about a couple years ago. I'm also into casting. I've been shooting a lot of rifle lately in the cast bullets, and I'm just trying to see about working up loads that will go long range with the cast lead bullet. And got some new tools that I'm going to probably on my channel I'm going to be introducing as well. Other than that, I got a couple revolvers recently, so that will feature pretty soon. And the AR, I'm building a 6x20, 6x45 AR and AR-15 that I got from Full Dead Taco, which is a awesome little round. I like to see what that does.
And that is essentially just a 223 necked up to 6mm. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. It's kind of cool because the 6mm bullets have a lot of variety. Essentially all it is exactly what you said, just a necked up 223. And all you really need to do is just swap your barrel out, make sure your headspace is correct, and you get to shoot a bigger projectile, a little bit heavier.
Nice.
Yeah, and having shot 243, I know what you mean by checking out all the different projectiles. You go all the way from like 55 grain all the way up to 108 grain. That's a pretty good range. Do you have any idea what like the maximum weight bullet is using a 6x45?
In order to feed reliably from the magazine, of course, we're limited to the 2.260. I could definitely hand feed some 100 grains, is what it looks like. though the rifle twist is only a 1 in 9. So I like to see what that does if it can even stabilize a heavy projectile like that. That'd be kind of cool. One good thing about it is that it looks like it's a good option for some cast lead bullets because it's only a 3 groove barrel and it's also shallow. So it might be a good little barrel for some cast lead. So I'll find out. I had okay luck with the 223, but I could never get it to where I wanted it to, no matter what I tried. So I'd like to see what this does.
Yeah, that's really interesting. You mentioned that it's a 3 groove. Does the amount of grooves affect what cast lead bullets will shoot good out of? Like, is the fewer the grooves, the less leading kind of goes on? Is that what you mean?
Um, I'm not 100% knowledgeable about it, but I think what it has to do with is how much contact is being made onto the lead bullet itself. So you have to seal off the gases. And of course, if you got more rifling, well, that lead's going to swedge into somewhere. So it's got to go somewhere. And usually what that happens is it goes to the base of the bullet. And that's kind of where the most accuracy gets kind of depleted is when you have ununiform bases. From what I've experienced so far, I think Walter can actually chime in on this one.
Yeah, there's a real big debate going on as far as twist rate is what everyone likes to always bring up. It's kind of a known fact that a slower twist is easier to get cast bullets to shoot accurately with at a faster velocity. Not saying you can't do it with a 1 in 10 twist. I've got them up close to 25 trying to get close to MOA accuracy, but they make 1 in 16 twist barrels for a reason. It's a whole lot easier to get cast bullets to shoot fast, with the slower twist. It's just easier on the lead bullet. But Kenny is I'm sure paper patching that really helps protect even a soft lead bullet. You can run them at some crazy speeds because that paper jacket does its job and protects the lead.
Yeah, and the paper patch itself is essentially the first jacketed bullet before a copper jacket ever came out, and people were putting those out back in World War One at rifle velocities, was 2,200 FPS plus on a 308, 7.65 by 54R, first paper patch. It has some cool little rounds, so I can't wait to get back into it, honestly. I just need to get back out of this little trailer, and I wanted to try some, is it tea bag paper? Basically some 100% volume paper. So I made out 100% cotton.
Yeah.
So we'll see what that does.
Cool.
Do you guys know of any other type of, jacketing besides copper or paper? I guess you've also got powder coating as well, but are there different types of materials that you guys know of that they've experimented with?
Some of the high-end long-range bullets are turned from full bronze on the blade.
Yeah, I've seen the solid core bullets. Those are definitely really interesting. I believe Barnes bullets out of Utah also make solid copper bullets, and those are supposed to be really good for hunting. Actually, as I go on road trips to southern Utah, I drive right past Barnes bullets every time. They're just right off I-15. I've yet to stop in there, but I don't know if they care for people just to stop in and have a look around. But I think it's cool that they're right on the side of the road right there. I definitely want to check it out at some point. They're about an hour and a half or so away from the Salt Lake Valley where I live.
Jamie said that's a beautiful flag you got going on there, Walt.
Yeah, I'm responding now. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Kenny, I've seen that you've been lucky enough to actually get yourself some new rifles and equipment. Kind of walk us through that. What have you been able to grab lately? I know you just got yourself a new precision rifle.
Yeah. I got into a Savage, and for 2 reasons. It's easy to kind of be your own gunsmith with that rifle, and the second reason mostly is because there's folks out there, Walt included, are getting some awesome accuracy out of these little rifles. I think a lot of it to do with that free-floating head bolt. It's able to score up your cartridge and get a more uniform centerline bore access. That's just my opinion, but Savage is pretty kind of a budget rifle to kind of get into long-range shooting, and I've seen people make some really cool builds out of them, really accurate builds. Other than that, I'm hoping to get into a kind of a custom action rifle, and I might try out a XLR chassis. I'm looking into a Bighorn long bolt action, custom action, and seeing what I can do with that. But right now, I'm just focusing on one rifle at a time. I still got the 30-06 that I'm planning on taking out, and like I said, I want to try out that AR, and I got a couple pistols, like I said, and I might throw a scope onto a revolver. Some may frown upon that one, but I like to shoot long range, so we'll see what happens.
No, a scope offhand on a revolver would be awesome. I've had my buddy out there with me. I've made a few videos with him. His name's Andy. He's a two-time Utah IPSC champion. That's not it. It's USPSA. I think that's what it is. There's so many letters in all those sports. But we've had his revolver out there just using some light 38 special loads, and we were able to shoot 250 yards onto a full-size IPSC target. That was really fun. That was cool.
We got full of who's got a big bore revolver shooting with a 30-06 out of a handgun. It's nuts.
Yeah. Full Ed Tacos told me he wants to go shoot pistols against me, and I told him that he couldn't use this 30-06.
Yeah. And we got Zombie Headhunters who's in the chat as well. I've been checking out his channel quite a bit in the past, and he's got a Contender, or I think it's a Contender. There's the Venture and the Contender, and he's been doing some crazy shots with those.
Yeah, anybody who's not familiar with Zombie Headhunters, definitely check those guys out. I've had a couple of zombies hanging around my house for a long time now that I really need to go take care of. I feel terrible because I sent them an email, and immediately they were like, absolutely, we'll get you some, and they shipped them out, and they were here within just a few days, and then they've sat on my shelf. A big reason for that is I just need to get a good shooting round put together, and I'm always messing with my rounds. It's very rare that I have just a round that's ready to go. I'm always testing and trying to fine-tune it, but I think I've finally made it with the 6.5 Creedmoor 147 ELDs. I want to get out there, and I need to take care of those zombie heads. If you guys aren't familiar, actually hang on about 15 seconds. You guys can chat for a second. I'll go grab my zombie heads so we know what we're talking about.
Yeah. In fact, I wonder if he's actually selling those, or are you offering those for people to actually do your challenges there, Zombie Headhunter?
That'd be cool if he was, huh?
Yeah, he's got a kid shooting on one of his videos that I saw, and he's not that much older than my son, and he was just nailing this. It was a 24 by 24 with a zombie head out at 1,000 yards, first round impacts, cold bore. It's nuts. These guys have some awesome rifle builds.
Yeah, so I believe that they're up out of Wyoming, which isn't terribly far from where I'm at. Few-hour drive, of course, depends on where you're at in Wyoming. It's pretty large. But here's the 1,000-yard target, and you can see, like, it's not very wide. It's not terrible tall. I mean, it's probably 10 inches or so tall, but it's less than an MOA wide at 1,000. And so the rules are you get 10 shots, no sighters, and you get 10 minutes. And then I think you have to wait a half hour between each attempt or something like that. So this is 1,000. Double check. Yeah, it's written on the back. Here's a 1,200-yard head. So he's a little bit more round, a little bit bigger ears. And not very wide, but you're out at 1,200 yards at this point. This thing's getting real small. And then got one for 1,500 yards, which I have. And this guy's got a great big round face, definitely a little bit larger. And then they've got one for a mile, which is 1,760 and 2,000 yards. But at the time, I had my 243 when I ordered these. And I actually didn't get the mile or the 2,000 yards because my rifle, I just didn't think it was capable of it. Now that I've got the Creedmoor and I'm working on my 7mm, I might be able to, maybe I'll have a request for ones that are further out, but I need to take care of these guys first. And if you hit all of the ranges they have established, it's called taking out the horde. So you got to go stop the zombie horde. It's really awesome stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I will make a video when I do that.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. I definitely, once I get set up and moved into my new house and get a range set up, I'm definitely want to try that out as well. I'll get a hold of these guys and see what they could send me.
The good about me having not shot them yet is now I've upgraded my cameras where I've got multiple angles. So I'll have multiple angles on the zombie headhunts, so you'll be able to see me shooting. You'll have a GoPro up on the camera, and then you'll have a zoomed in range or a zoomed in footage from like where I'm at to the target. Might be able to catch some bullet trace and whatnot. So it'll be a better video now that I've waited a little bit, which is one of the reasons I've waited as well. But yeah, shoot them an email. I don't know if they're selling them or whatnot. At the time I emailed them, they sent me a few. It's really thin metal, which is all it has to be. I mean, you're gonna go shoot it, and it's nice and thin. It's easy to carry. You just pick it up in front of your target, and then if you hit it, you should be able to see it swinging out at those distances.
Uh-oh. We got it. Now it's a party. We got Uncle Jim in the house.
I see the hammers.
Well, speaking of cameras, Walt, one of your videos, I guess you had a drone flying, and I thought that was awesome. That kind of gave me an idea. I wanted to get into a DJI drone, just because I'm tired of hiking 1,000 yards to go see if I hit a target or not.
Yeah, my wife was nice enough to buy me that drone just this last Christmas. It's a Parrot Bebop 2, and it's, I don't know a lot about drones, but man, there's apps you can download where you can just pre-program flight plans off GPS maps and coordinates, so you don't have to try to fly the thing yourself. It'll just take off and do its thing. You just got to remember to make sure the battery's charged, because that's how I crashed down the middle of that clear cut. And lucky for me, the thing landed right on an old skid road, because if it would have went about 20 feet to the left, it would have been 400 or 500 feet straight down a canyon, and that would have just sucked.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think it's an awesome idea. Like it'll just save you time of just getting unset up and seeing if you got your target or not. That's, plus the footage is great, man. You had some awesome views there when I saw that. But that's what
Uncle Jim likes my goat, and then Benjamin says my audio is quiet. I don't know what I do to fix my audio.
Did you say your phone for this? Can you plug your headphones into your phone while you do this? Because the audio with your headphones in was great.
Yeah, I think I might be able to do that.
Okay. Real quick to clarify, Zombie Headhunters is in our comments, and they said that we do not sell them. We send them to people who would like to shoot them. And obviously,
I'll be back in a minute.
Okay. I think they prefer if people can make video responses, just because that makes it a little more fun for everybody else to kind of participate in. But if you're unable to do that, I'm sure you can send your pictures back to Zombie Headhunters, and they'd enjoy that as well. But they've got a bunch of videos of shooting real long range. Like, they've taken their 7 Rem mag out, and I think they've gone 1,000 yards, maybe even beyond. They're pretty.
Yeah, that was a sweet looking rifle. That was that red one. And then he had some body supported long range shooting as well. I thought that was kind of cool.
Is that the one where they fold up like a pretzel and shoot off their cap, and like they support their gun that way?
Yeah, that's nuts. I tried it myself. I don't stretch that way. But I was able to make one shot. So that was awesome.
That's hilarious. So what are some other long range shooting channels you like to watch, Kenny?
I've been honestly, let's see, I've been watching Gianni G from your recommendation. He's put out a video lately on some awesome groups with his 6x47 Lapua. I've been watching that. I've been watching a lot of 243 Outdoors and his adventure in the NRA L22. I'm sorry if I butchered the name. Yeah, it's just really cool because I can't wait to eventually get into some competition shooting, and just seeing that, it just seems like a really, really fun way of just having fun and being competitive. That Know Your Limits little rack that he has, that's a pretty cool little rack. I would love to try that out. Other than that, I've been honestly not really having much time to watch much videos. I for some reason Uncle Jim's videos always pop up on the right time, right when I have an opportunity. So I've been watching a lot of his lately, and that's about it. Also, Cybersource Rex. I go back to his videos quite a bit.
Yeah, definitely. That's someone I pretty much didn't really understand ballistics or anything about that, or really how to adjust my scopes and all that. And it was kind of right as I got into my whole binge of YouTube and discovering there's actually a whole community here where people talk about long range. Found his Sniper 101 series, and I started watching that, and I learned a lot from that. And that's really what got me out to long range and knowing what I was doing. I had shot out to 530 yards with my AR using a 50 grain bullet, surprisingly enough. And all it was, though, is it was shooting, seeing where the bullet was landing, holding higher, shooting, and then just continuously doing that until I ended up on target and I shot a few on the plate. But that started the whole craze of shoot, pause, you hear the plate ring back, and that's really what gets you hooked is when you're out there and you're doing stuff like that. That's a lot of fun. Wait for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole reason why I love long range shooting. It's a really awesome challenge. It really tests basically what you don't know, for me. And just getting that feedback from a skilled target at that distance, it's a sense of accomplishment, especially if you hand load your cartridge. It's a lot of time and effort, and I invested more money on my reloading equipment than I have with my firearms, of course. And I'm finding it that with just the simple hand loading, a little bit of knowledge, you could definitely fine tune a cartridge to make that rifle, even a deer rifle, shoots 1,000 yards, no questions asked, and like bring a little IPSC target. So pretty cool.
Yeah, and even a simple reloading kit is what I started out with. I was able to have a little side job go on a couple of years ago, and it pretty much equaled to where I got paid exactly what that Lee kit cost me to get started. And that's really how I got into my reloading, and I haven't even changed it since. I've still got my little Lee single stage with most of the Lee kit. You upgrade pieces over time, but for the most part, it works good enough, and I kind of just run with that. I wish that I had a little bit better reloading setup, but all in good time. It seems like anytime I have some extra money, it always magically turns into bullets or powder.
Yeah, and honestly, it seems I'm rocking out Lee stuff as well. I kind of went overboard and bought all the presses except for the Loadmaster. But honestly, the press that I use the most is the turret press in the single stage, and that progressive press just kind of sits there until I need a more 9mm. But yeah, I mean, just investing in a simple little O-ring style or O-frame style press, you're able to make some really high quality ammunition. And I recently invested into a concentricity gauge to see if I'm doing things right, and I'm finding a lot of things out with just this tool. But just simple dies like the Lead 4 die sets. I mean, that'll be my next video. It's good enough. You can make some really high quality ammunition with just a die set. And it makes me wonder if investing into like RCBS or even the higher name brand dies, how much of a difference does it make? And if it does make a difference, is it noticeable on paper or on a long range? I don't know.
What I've kind of started doing is branching out to different brands of dies. My first 3 or 4 sets of dies were all Lee, and I got a set of Lee dies for my 6.5 Creedmoor, and I've shot some really great groups with those. But then for my 7 WSM, I bought some Hornady custom dies, and then I also just bought some Redding dies for my 224 Valkyrie. In the reloading itself, I don't see the dies making all the difference. I think it mostly comes down to components and load development and stuff like that. Like when I'm reloading for my 6.5 Creedmoor, if I shoot a bad group, I don't think to myself, "Oh man, those Lee dies are making me shoot bad." Like I think it's just me and the components that I've chosen.
Yeah. I mean, I came really, really close to investing into like some of the Whitting dies until I bought this thing first just to see what's going on. And now I'm kind of to the point to where I'm like, I don't think it's worth it. I'm getting concentricity down to 1 or 2 thousandths just with regular Lee dies. I think that's pretty good. And for folks out there, concentricity is basically the outer circle to the inner circle, how concentric it is with each other. And basically, you want about 1 to 2 thousandths concentricity on the gauge, no more than 3, and these dies are definitely doing that, if not better.
Yeah, and even something simple like I see people paying a lot of money for bushing dies. The Canon Precision expanding mandrel that I have, if you have a drill and a piece of sandpaper, you can buy one of their little mandrels and chuck it up in a drill and sand it down exactly to the half thousandth or thousandth that you want it to expand your case next to. You can get really precise with that. It'll be super concentric, and they're $10. So you get the body for those expander mandrels, which are like $18, and then each little expanding mandrel is $10. I mean, for $28, that's a really cheap way to get the perfect amount of neck tension. I haven't sanded on mine for the 6.5 Creedmoor just because when I use it, it's given me awesome results. It's dropped my SDs significantly. It's been made a huge difference what I've had going on. I still need to test as far as seating some 6.5 bullets and running them hard from my magazine into the rifle. See if it changes the overall length at all, but I'm pretty sure it won't. I've grabbed the bullet, pushed as hard as I can on it, and I had one slip just a little bit, and then I had like 3 other ones where they didn't even budge, not even change 1,000.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of wondering too. The 6.5 from my rifle that I'm shooting kind of feels like a 308 as far as the recoil. So it is magazine fed. So I wonder, like what you're saying, having like minimum neck tension, 2000s neck tension, and you fire the round. If it's magazine fed, is there any kind of overall length that grown? I wanted to try that, test that out. I believe it was Curtis on the last live chat on the Reloaders Network brought that up. It was a pretty good discussion. So, I mean, there's videos out there that's proven it, and there's also videos out there that disproved it. So, the only way to really know is to do it yourself.
Yeah, as far as the neck tension goes with that light neck tension, I definitely wouldn't want to run that through a semi-auto. But with a bolt action fed from a magazine, I'm feeling pretty confident about that. I think it should be all right. But I wouldn't want to do it on my 223, just because of the violence of the action there. I think it's going to definitely change the overall length.
Yeah, and that was the videos that I've watched. I've seen neck, basically the overall length does grow because you do have that big old bolt carrier, that big mass of metal swinging back and forth, and I think that's what's causing a lot of that bullet to grow, that overall length. So, the kind of interesting thing. Maybe the guys out here in the comments like to see if you have any experience with that. See what they say.
And not only that, a really common bullet puller that they have, it holds out of the case, and then you smack it against the ground, and just the bullet being stopped fast enough will tear the bullet apart. So if you have really light neck tension, you're going to change your overall length if you're hitting it hard enough.
Oh, yeah. Well, you did an awesome video lately also on your brass prep on the 6.5 Creedmoor, and it made me think a lot, too. And you brought up that channel I was talking about, Johnny G, with how he rotates the case halfway up from seating the bullet. I have actually tried that. That's going to be on my next video as well, and it does make a difference. It virtually eliminates your concentricity issues. It'll definitely, basically what he's doing, Johnny G showed, is you seat your case, your bullet halfway up, and you go down, rotate it either 180 degrees, and seat it further. You can do it, in the three turns or 2. And it seems to help out quite a bit. And that's something that I kind of implement in my reloading now.
Yeah, and he also corrected me because I used to seat the bullet all the way down and then turn it halfway around and seat the bullet again, which really wasn't seating the bullet. And he was telling me that he barely seats it into the mouth of the case, stops before it's reached its overall length. He'll lift the ram and rotate it, and then he rotates it 3 or 4 times as the bullet continues to get seated further and further.
Here's another controversial question. That's Walt. He's got all kinds of cool plans.
I'm back.
Hey man, you got a plaques there, dude. We just saw a bunch of cool stuff. I bet everybody wants to check that out.
What was that?
You got a lot of cool plaques on the wall.
Oh. Oh, my old Remington and Winchester stuff. Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, yeah. Hey, Shane's in the house. What's up, Shane?
Hey, so Walter, what kind of dies are you using for your precision reloads? And have you found that, like say, a Redding bushing die offers more performance versus, or at least consistency? Have you noticed that the dies are making any difference in the performance of your rounds?
I do think that I use the RCBS gold medal match bushing size dies. Those are money well spent, and they're not overly expensive. The dies that I'm really, really sold on are the Forster ultra micrometer seating dies. And I know Redding also makes a real comparable, if not better, die, just for keeping the run out down to a bare minimum. And man, you can adjust the seating depth down to the half a thousandths. Yeah, they're expensive, but just like most anything in life, you get what you pay for.
And, for anybody who's not keeping up with this, he mentioned run out. Run out is what Kenny was talking about with concentricity. It's just how well everything is, how straight everything is. Because if your bullet gets forced in the case crooked, then when you chamber it into your rifle, it's pointed slightly off to one direction. You want that bullet as straight with the brass inside the chamber, as straight onto the rifling as you can make it. That's run out and concentricity. Pretty description.
Yeah, I kind of think of like the football effect. You throw a football all wobbly. If you got enough distance, eventually it'll kind of straighten out. But just that little bit of wobbleness will throw it off your point of aim, point of impact.
And I would honestly think that the football effect would kind of go opposite with the rifle. If you started out kind of wobbly, there's a good chance you're going to lose control of that bullet. Like when I was shooting subsonic 243s, those ended up going sideways, and it'll deviate the course of fire real quick. If you've got a bunch of pressure on this side of it, it's going to go path of least resistance to try and take off.
Yeah. Yeah, there's that big blast of cloud once a bullet exits. I don't know if you guys ever seen slow mo videos of of a bullet firing. It's got to break this turbulence, and a lot of folks that I've been reading are saying the concentricity really plays an effect on that. Getting a bullet to fire out of there straight as much as he possibly can out of your barrel will pierce through that turbulence a lot better.
Well, you really notice it when you're shooting cast bullets. If you start them in the bore crooked, they're gonna stay that way, and it'll show up on paper even at 100 yards. So that was I had mentioned it in one of the last videos, loading the .6, seating the bullet out far enough to engage the rifling. That's just one more step to help keeping the bullet in line with the bore, in conjunction with using some of your higher end seating dies, because a bullet that starts crooked is never going to fix itself. But jacketed bullets are a lot more forgiving, but cast bullets, boy, that I'll tell you what, that really you can learn a lot by shooting cast bullets in a rifle as far as your loading techniques. Everything shows up on paper.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think it's really awesome. Both of you guys are probably the few channels that I've actually seen people go out and shoot cast lead bullets at long range, which if I get a cast lead bullet, that's definitely something I want to try. So you guys going out and doing that, I know that it's possible, so it just makes it all that much more exciting for me to get into it. I definitely want to get out and try and shoot a cast lead bullet really far. I don't see a reason why you couldn't shoot them really far. Obviously, with the bare lead bullet, though, you're limited by velocity as how fast you can shoot that lead bullet without fouling up your bore. So that's going to kind of be the limiting factor. As far as shooting a cast lead bullet long range, is there a specific cartridge you guys choose for that to keep those speeds a little bit lower? Maybe like a 308, or is even a 308 a little bit fast for that?
Well, I've really only played around with the 308 in cast, and even you got to remember, even your toughest, strongest lead alloys are nowhere near the strength of a copper jacket. So you do have limitations, and I don't know. Like I said, I've been able to creep up on 2450, right about that speed range. A lot of it has to do with the shape of the projectile, though, because certain bullet uh, shapes lend themselves better to making it through that supersonic stage, through the transonic into subsonic without doing really weird things. A lot of your bullet designs, once they hit that transonic, 1,300 feet per second, the bullets just start to yaw real bad, then tumble. And you could even see that in that video that I had posted back in December on the 500-yard shoot. Those bullets were only doing 2,200 feet per second, and I don't think that was quite fast enough. And you could see that really smoky vapor trail. And some of those really started to tail off at the end, and I wasn't able to be real consistent on that 500-yard plate. So I've upped that same bullet to pushing close to 2,500 feet per second. I need to get back out and try that again, see if that helps out some to prove my theory. But then again, guys will take big Herkin 600 grain 4570 bullets doing barely 1,100 feet per second, and they take them out to 1,000 yards all day long with iron sights. So I know it can be done. It's a lot of science and stuff that I just don't have enough knowledge to speak too freely about it.
Yeah, and recently Walt sent me some of his bullets, and I'm gonna try it out in 7.62, but mostly in 30-06. I wish I jumped on that mold. That mold's just an awesome mold, and unfortunately, they're all sold out at the moment. But I can always ask Al to see if he'll put a production run. But that bullet seems very promising, like you're saying. I mean, you proved it out to 600 yards with the 308.
500.
And 500? Okay.
500.
Yeah, it was 500, sorry.
Most people probably be like, yep, it was 600, yep.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll see. The 30-06 is the parent case, the older brother, so it should be very similar to your load. I might be able to do exactly what you're saying. I'm going to seat them out to where they're touching the lands and being supported that way. And I'm going to try out the traditional lube, throwing some, lube inside the bands, hand lubing it.
Something to keep in mind when you're trying to get those higher velocities for the high speeds and longer ranges, is you always want to try to gravitate towards some of your slower powders. It's just a lot easier on the bullet. So
yeah, which is what I found in the 223 with my testing. The slower powders, 4198, seem to work pretty good with 223. I've been having a lot of good luck with that as well in 300 blackout. The powders you recommend, I actually got Reloader 15, so I'm going to try that out. Other than that, yeah, exactly what you're saying. You want to, it's kind of like, let's say, punching a bowling ball versus pushing a bowling ball down the lane. Those higher pressure powders just do more damage to lead than as far as the lower pressure.
Yeah, they really do. Yeah, go ahead, Logan.
So you were mentioning, or I kind of brought it up, that you have to keep your velocities lower with the cast lead bullets. With paper patching, you're able to push them faster, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I got lucky with a flat point. It's a 150 grain lead bullet, and I pushed that thing up to 3,000 FPS, and it gave just over or just at MOA accuracy at 100 yards. And I had a lot of fun with that bullet. I was just nailing IPSC target. I had a cool footage that I was doing 300 yards, 400 yards with it, but I lost it in transition and moving. So
yeah, see, that's more along the lines of why I would want to get into cast lead, is trying to shoot just older technology like that paper patching, because it still works, which I think is really cool. I mean, obviously the new copper jacketed it's a superior design, but just throwing it back to that is really cool and showing that you can still go out really far with it. And most of them don't have crazy high BCs, but like Walter was mentioning, it's more stable through the transonic zone. Probably shoot really far with them if you have the adjustability in your scope or your iron back in the
day. Actually, I got invited recently. Some of the guys here that have their own gun shop. I forgot his name. He's one of the main guys at the Cats Bullets Forum. one of the main moderators, and he's got a RN50 that he shoots a cast lead bullet, 50 cal cast lead bullet with Trail Boss. And I've seen some of his groups. Yeah, some of his groups are a golf ball, 10-shot groups with Trail Boss, cast lead 50 cal bullet. And it's just a blast. The videos I've seen, these guys, they're just taking a big old shoulder punch. And I think they're only shooting it right at 2,000 FPS. But it seems like a lot of fun. And they invited me, so I can't wait to get out and try that out.
Wow, man, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of really good things I wanted to say, and then I read a comment, and then all of them just disappeared.
It looks like Tim wants to know how you load the 83 grain 223 bullets.
I seem to have missed that one.
He says, James, how do you load those 83 grain 223s? You know, that's kind of interesting. That's kind of like getting into the 224 Valkyrie weight range right there. Put in a 223.
So here's the biggest advantage I see of the 224 Valkyrie now that we've got onto this page.
Yeah.
The 223 can yield similar velocities. However, when you bump up to the above 75 grain hollow points, like even if you just go to the AMAX or the ELD or Match King, they don't fit at magazine length. And the Valkyrie can shoot a 90 grain bullet at magazine length. That's where the huge advantage comes in. It's a little bit faster, which is also better, but it's able to magazine feed the big, long 22 caliber bullets in it, and I think that's the real advantage of the 224 Valkyrie. A lot of people are getting on here and they're like, well, I can get really close to that with my 223, and I think the main point is that you have to single feed those, and that makes it pretty difficult if you're single feeding through an AR. I mean, in a bolt gun, doesn't really matter. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I agree. Single feeding through an AR is a hassle. I tried just throwing the cartridge in there and letting the bolt slam forward, but then I had one push the bullet into the case, actually quite a bit. So when you're trying to keep your cheek weld on yourself and feeding the bullet is, but
I have a bare bones Smith & Wesson M&P 15 Sport AR that I shoot maybe once a year. It just sits in the safe. Like I said, I'm not really an AR guy, and I don't really have any knowledge on the things.
So, Walter, one thing that made a big difference for me is I put a scope on my AR, and I loved that thing ever since. I'm not much for mag dumps and all that, but have you ever tried a scope on your AR?
Negative. I have an old Bushnell hollow sight. So this is like the predecessor to the EOTech on my AR.
Yeah, it was funny. I posted a video on the Reloaders Network about my first rifle, the 300 Win Mag, and I had just got my AR, and this is going back to when I was watching Nut and Fancy stuff. He talks about having a rifle set up for a specific time. So I had my scoped 300 Win Mag, which would be my long range rifle. My AR, I put iron sights on because that would be my like 0 to 200 yards, and then I'd have a pistol for anything closer than like 25 yards, something like that. So my 300 Win Mag was a lot of recoil, and it was really expensive to shoot. Well, I ended up taking the scope off of it and dropping it on my AR, and I realized how fun long-range shooting was and how affordable it could be if I just chose a different caliber. So I ended up selling the 300 Win Mag after I'd taken the scope off of it, and that's when I brought the Tika home.
Nice.
But I definitely suggest getting a scope for that thing, even something a little more bare bones, like a 1-6 or something with a good reticle for drops and whatnot. I think you'd have a riot with that. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've got a bolt action 223, and I hate chasing brass. I just bought that for end of the world scenario. If I need to light something up, I've got it. Other than that, it just sits under the bed.
Well, having a bolt gun 223 probably makes the difference there, because I didn't have a 223 bolt gun, but yeah, the affordability aspect's a lot of fun to shoot long range, especially when you're getting down into 223. You want a box of 20 rounds, go spend $7 for a box of PMC. You can go blast away at 100 yards just for fun.
Uncle Jim says brass catcher. Yeah, Jim, I know, but like I said, I've just never been that big of a fan of the AR. I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate because of that, but call me old fashioned. You know, bolt guns, lever guns, and revolvers is my forte.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good forte to have.
Yeah, that Valkyrie, I really want to get into that upper. It's still on pre-order as of right now. I don't know if you have any insight on that one.
I actually haven't been able to, or not that I haven't been able to. I haven't been talking with you into precision a whole lot lately, just because I actually haven't been shooting. That's why my videos have been lagging. Basically, all of California is on fire. The whole desert that I'm in is super dry, and it's really prone to fires right now, as well as like smoky air. And it's 100 degrees out there, so it's a lot of barrel heat. You get a lot of mirage off the ground. It's just hard to see your target.
Yep.
Which kind of ironically, I've figured out over a couple of years that August is not a good time to shoot guns. It's just too hot with the mirage, and it's a high risk of fire danger. And I don't want to be the cause of a big old fire out in the desert.
Yeah, they've got a lot of the woods around here just flat shut down. You couldn't go out if you wanted to. So Aaron and I have been trying to think of, videos we could film just around the house, whether it be, a new casting video or, loading this or that, or product reviews, brass prep, because getting out to the woods is, near impossible this time of the year.
Yeah, and I want to shout out to Vaughn Precision, because I invited him to join in on our chat tonight, and he actually got sent out to go and fight fires. So he's actually out there right now helping take care of the air, helping take care of the state, and make sure it's not burning away. So appreciate that, Kurt. Thanks for doing what you're doing, man. It's helping a lot of people, and I think it's underappreciated. There's not many people who want to run after a forest fire and try and put it out. So I'm appreciative of the people who do.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just north of me a couple hours, just outside of Olympia, Washington. So he's kind of a close neighbor.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, and you guys also have Thor's Axe up there, and I believe Fortune Cookie 45 LCs up in that area as well. You got a good little group of channels up in that state.
Yeah, we got the Great Pacific Northwest cornered down.
Yeah, if you guys could ever get out on a day where it isn't raining, it's a great time.
Right. Yeah, I could send some your way. We have more than enough of that here for us.
Yeah.
Over here, like you're saying, it's been super hot, but then you get these crazy monsoons at like 10 o'clock at nighttime, and they really, really pick up wind. I thought my trailer was gonna topple over one time, and actually it recently tacoed my awning on my trailer. So that's something that's kind of going to be a new experience for me out here, is the wind and shooting long range. I'm getting 20, 30 mile per hour gust winds. I think getting to the bigger bore calibers might help out, but it's going to be a good challenge.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
As
far as wind goes, I think the highest mile an hour winds I've ever been in, once I've got home and checked the ballistic charts, I think it was about 15 to 20 miles an hour, which is a stout wind when you're out there. It feels like you're going to blow away, but it's a lot of fun. I've seen a few people from California shooting in like 35 mile an hour winds, and I think he was out to 400 yards and still getting impacts. I'm sure he was holding like way off the end of the target, even at 400 yards, but I think they're shooting 6.5 Creedmoor. They were able to get it done. But the way to get better at shooting in the wind is to shoot in the wind.
Yeah, it's like I always tell everyone, the bullet drop, that's the easy part. That's all math. That's very repeatable, day after day after day. Wind is your big enemy, and that's, learning how to, even just with all your, the cool apps and stuff we can pull up on our phones today, the art of reading, mirage and seeing what the trees and the grass is doing. That's an art and science into itself right there.
Yeah. Which brings up a point. There was a live chat that I was watching yesterday. It was on, was it the Crazy Scotsman? and we had one guy on there pretty much saying that chronographs are useless, and it kind of got me a little bit. But then I started laughing because I was like, man, this guy hasn't a clue. And for us getting out to the longer range, just that little bit of velocity that you lost between cartridges just makes a difference. And the main goal for having a chronograph is to eliminate and get cartridges that are closer together as far as velocity. That way, you eliminate one factor, which is your vertical.
Well, yeah, yeah. If you're shooting at 200 yards, yeah, chronograph's pointless. You're shooting at 2,000 yards, 50 feet per second makes all the difference in the world.
And that kind of brings up a good question. For you shooting a lot more pistol cast lead bullets there, Walt, is a chronograph really necessary for doing load development with your pistol?
I don't use one. Very, very rarely. Sizing cast bullets to revolvers. People get hung up on slugging barrels. I've never even slugged a barrel. Size the cast bullet to your cylinder throats in the revolver, and just go from there, and just let the results speak for themselves. But for me, I'm rarely shooting a handgun much past 50 yards. Unless I know Eagle Eye Shooting's giving away ammunition, then I'll shoot them at 185 yards to try to win the prize. But other than that, my handgun stuff's normally 25 to 50 yards tops. But yeah, as far as cast bullets goes, size the bullet to the cylinder throat, and then you're good to go from there.
Cool. And speaking of that can challenge, I know it's been out there for a while. There isn't the closing date is going to be basically the start of fall, and that's where we'll close it. The people that participated, for the folks here, I am making a cool prize for everybody as well who actually just did a video and just participated. So far, it looks like Walt, you're the one that topped everybody off on.
Well, thank you. Like I said, I got pretty dumb lucky. I don't know that I could ever repeat that. That was it was fun doing it, but man, that was hard to even see that can at that distance. And with a 22, yeah, that was something. I'm glad I had the video rolling.
Yeah, that was fun. I kind of had a feeling that 22 would dominate. I was thinking of getting my friend's Mark 5 or Mark 2 22 just to shoot. But yeah, like you're saying, you can't see the sights. Anything past 50 yards with a pistol, that's a challenge. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, there's a lot of luck involved with anything at that range after that.
Yeah.
As far as that challenge is concerned, what I just mentioned about earlier about the whole place being on fire, super hot, all that, that's why I haven't joined that yet. Even if I don't get out before it's closed, I will do a can challenge regardless of prizes or whatnot. I just want to see what I can do, but I want to go try something ridiculous, something along the lines of what Rex Reviews did. I mean, is like 2 shots to 260 Remington shooting a bottle of water like 1,500 yards or something. That's ridiculous. I'd love to be on that level.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you what Aaron and I had in mind, and we've been talking about it, and we've actually hinted about it to a couple of you guys over the past 6 months, and we've just never been able to get out and do it. What brought this on was several months ago, I watched a bunch of you guys do the egg challenge.
Yeah.
I think it was, 6 shots at 6 eggs at 300 yards.
Yep.
So what we had proposed or wanted to propose, and we still might do it, I was going to call it the 6-pack challenge. And it's going to be 6 12-ounce soda cans at 200 yards, but it's got to be with a cast bullet in a rifle.
Nice.
And I have yet to try it myself. I don't know. You might be able to get a nice enough load worked up to where it might be just super easy. I don't know. It might be harder than I think it is, but that's something we had knocking around.
That sounds like a great challenge. I like the fact that it's cast lead only. I think that sounds really fun.
Yeah, and I wasn't going to put any restrictions. Whatever caliber you wanted, whether it be 22 all the way through 45, 70, whatever you felt comfortable with. But I personally was going to run with the 308, and a 12-ounce soda can isn't all that wide, so there's some room to make some mistakes there at 200 yards with cast for sure. But I thought it would be an interesting challenge.
You got to be careful because full lead taco has 4570s that shoots multiple balls out of it. So,
yes, he does. Mike's a crazy guy. He's got some great stuff going on.
Yeah. Mike sent me before. It's a cool mold that I wanted to try out. It's a thumb-seated bullet. I don't know if you ever heard of them. And basically what you do is you take your Fireform case, you pop the primer out, put a new one in, load your charge, and the bullet itself, the bands are different sizes. Anything from 314 all the way down to 307 or 306 your chamber. Let the chamber actually dictate the overall length.
Mike has all the cool toys.
Oh, yeah. That's something I kind of wanted to use that for his little giveaway that he's doing. I don't know if you guys ever checked that out. He's got a cool giveaway. It's basically drawing well, I don't want to give it away because you actually have to go see the video.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I read up on it, and man, that's a very generous thing he's doing.
Yeah, he's got some awesome stuff. I can't believe he's giving away the stuff he's giving.
Right?
Yeah, some of his old historic rifles that I saw, I was like, yo, it's itching me to go get this done now and get the most entries in. But
well, yeah, cool. I know what gun I'm going to use for that. It's going to be cast bullets, and I'm going to be using 148 grain wad cutters in my 1968 Smith & Wesson K38, my 14-2. That thing's a tack driver, and it 7 to 10 yards. I'm sure I could make a pretty nice smiley face.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go a little bit primitive, and I might be making my own powder and stuff.
What? Really?
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
And primer. So you guys,
that's quite the accomplishment. That's real reloading right there. You got to cast your own brass too. I mean, don't.
It's funny you saying that. My new house that I'm getting, I'm actually building it to where I got a steel building, and my uncle I used to work for is a machinist, and he's given me one of his CNC machines. So I was hoping to get into getting into some cool stuff with some gunsmithing that way. So hey, if I could CNC my own brass, that'd be kind of cool.
Speaking of CNCing your own brass, I know a guy who has a Ruger precision rifle. It started life as a 6.5 Creedmoor. He took the barrel off, and I think he turned it into a 6.5 Somme. However, he left the bolt face for a 308. And he takes his lathe and he turns brass down to a 308 head size case on his 6.5 Somme. Whether I agree with that or not, he's doing it. So
okay, some people just have too much time on their hands. That's all I have to say about that.
Some people have lathes in their hands. That's what it really is.
That's nice. I mean, you can really go OCD with your brass prepping and make your own brass. I mean, I seen those railgun shooters. I sat down with one of those, and just seeing this guy made his own 6mm cartridge just based off the PPC, and he basically hydraulic wedges his own brass. Kind of crazy.
I talk to a lot of guys that I work with that, some of them watch a few of my videos, and they're like, man, I've always kind of tossed around the idea of getting into hand loading, but it just looks so complicated and there's so much stuff. And I always try to, reassure them hand loading down in its basics is a pretty straightforward, simple, inexpensive thing to do. I said, just like most anything in life, you can make it as complicated and as expensive as you want with all the trick gizmos and tools. But, for anyone out there that thinks they want to get into it, man, for $150, you can pretty much get everything you need to get started into hand loading. It's not that complicated, and it's really not that it's just not that hard to do. Yeah, there's steps you got to take, be cautious and safe, but it's simpler than people might think.
Yeah. Hey, Idaho Rogers just came in. Still waiting on his videos to come up.
Actually, we did peer pressure him enough into start making videos. I mean, he went from none to a couple, so I think we've done pretty well for ourselves.
Wow. Well, I must have missed that. You know what? It kind of brings up a point. Has anybody been having issues with their subscription feeds on YouTube as far as notifications popping up? I'm not sure if it's just my account. I haven't. Basically, all the channels that I follow, which is a lot. they're not popping up on my subscription feeds as far as notification when videos are out.
Now, when you say notifications, are you turning on the bell icon and like YouTube alerts your phone that somebody's posted something?
Yeah, yeah, and I know for a fact, like for instance, the Reloading Press when he does his Sunday recaps, there's been the last 3 weeks I haven't got anything, and I know for sure the bell icon's on. I literally have to go through my notifications, and that's how I follow able to see everybody's videos. But it hasn't been popping up. I reset my phone. This also happens onto my laptop. But then what's funny is that I'm getting folks that are I'm not even subscribed to as recommended channels. I don't know. It's odd.
Personally, I don't have any bell icon turned on. Not because I don't want to know when the channel's posted something, but it's because if I got alerted when everybody posted something, I'd never stop, man. I'd always be on there like, oh, I better be the first one to watch this video, stuff like that. But I follow bigger channels. Like there's a motorcycle guy called Do It with Dan, and he's got over 1 million subscribers, and he gets constant issues with that. People telling him that, hey, I'm not getting notifications. And then also I follow a car guy. That dude in blue is another car channel I follow, and he talks about the same stuff. So it's not just guns, and it's cars and motorcycles. It's all sorts of stuff. Something's up with what YouTube's doing. I was starting to get notifications just in the YouTube app, and I ended up turning off these suggested notifications because it was just telling me like random people posted a video. It's like, yeah, you already suggest videos for me. I don't need you to give me a notification about it. So I turned that off.
You know, I remember reading something somewhere that they actually implemented some new way of how they actually recommend videos. So maybe that's what it is.
What about you, Walter? Did you have notifications turned on or anything, or do you just get on your subscription feed?
I don't get any like audible notifications. The one thing I have noticed is my YouTube channel doesn't seem to want to update on a regular basis. I can look on there and it'll be like, oh, this particular video I have has had X amount of views, and it'll stay that way for, up to maybe 2 days. And then all of a sudden it has, a gazillion more hits on it. And it's like, well, that doesn't seem right. It just, something seems lagging. Like I said, I'm the first to admit I'm not a tech savvy guy by any means, so I couldn't even begin to tell you what the problem would be. For all I know, it's my gear, not their website.
Yeah, and I've seen similar things, not necessarily with just like view count, but on my if you go to someone's channel and you click the About tab, it'll tell you a total view count. And at one point, mine was lagging behind on the total view count. It wouldn't update regularly. It'd take, like you were saying, about every 2 days. But on individual videos, I've been able to see how they've been tracking.
No.
Speaking of total views on videos, my most viewed videos just crossed over 200,000 views the other day. So I appreciate anybody who's ever watched.
Nice. Which video was that, Logan?
Honestly, it's one of the worst videos I ever made, which is hilarious. Of course, it's going to be that video that gets all the views. It's the one where you look through the scope zoom.
Oh yeah. I know the exact video you're talking about.
Yeah, so I redid one at a later point called Scope Zoom Compared, and that's where I looked at a Citron versus a Vortex, first focal plane and second focal plane, and I really went through. I did the audio a lot better. One of the big problems in the first video is I put music with the video.
With the wind?
Because the wind had completely destroyed the audio. It wasn't even that it was windy in the background. I was using a cheap microphone and like it overloaded and it would just straight cut audio. Couldn't hear anything. And so I put music on there and listening to it on my phone, editing it. I was like, oh, I can hear me and all that. But I'm sure if you had like a stereo blasting at you, yeah, you'd probably struggle to hear my voice out of it. And there have been plenty of people who have voiced their opinions about that. However, even with their hate comments, YouTube pays me. So even their hate comment is making me money. So I
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of our earlier videos, we had like bongo type drums in the background while we were talking, and boy, I heard about that to no end. People did not like that one bit.
So something people might not know is I'm actually into like heavy metal music. So I'm thinking about one of these days I'm just going to do a video for me, and I'm going to put in some of my music that I really like.
Nice.
Nobody's going to like this video but me. But you know what? I might just make it just because.
Well, Logan, seems how you mentioned heavy metal music, do you like or have you ever heard of Black Label Society?
I've heard of them. I know that I've seen the guitarist from Pantera on there. I've seen him wearing a hat. And doesn't he have a good? Isn't he in that Black Label Society?
No, Dimebag was just good friends with Zakk Wylde, but Zakk Wylde was Ozzy Osbourne's guitar player for decades.
I was aware of that.
So yeah, Black Label Society. Check those guys out. They you'll dig them.
Slayer is actually going on their last tour, supposedly, and this Sunday I'm going to see Slayer with Lamb of God and Anthrax. So it's going to be a wild show.
Yeah, Slayer shows. Yeah, danger. I'm too old for that stuff anymore.
But I'm sure a lot of people don't care about my concert stuff, so we'll get a little more back on topic. Have any of you guys been able to check out Trajectory Design Co? Like check any of their shirts out?
Yeah.
I want to.
Yeah, they got some cool stuff. I can't believe they're from California. That's nuts.
Yeah, so I follow those guys on Instagram. One of the main dudes, his channel, Vitamin D's. I don't know how you say it, but he does he takes a real camera out and takes pictures. So he does really good photography for products and whatnot. And I think he works alongside with Vortex, but him and a couple of his buddies started this company, and they're long range shooter guys. They're all about it. And because in California, you really can't have a bunch of like crazy semi-automatic stuff, or at least not limited. Kenny, you know all about that. They're into bolt guns, and they have really high-end rifles, and they know what they're talking about. They have really cool designs that, unless you shoot long range, you might not even pick up on. There's some really cool stuff. Like my 1 mile club, I had to shoot my mile before I would allow myself to buy it.
Nice.
I had to be part of the club before I got it.
I got a funny story to tell you guys about that 1 mile shoot. The first time my brother and I went out and scouted out a lane to set up steel targets all the way out to a mile. We finally got everything all set up. It was just over a 2 MOA target, so roughly, I don't know, 24 by 30, something like that. Anyway, we got the range all set up, got back up onto the shooting lane, and my brother started shooting first. And he must have put 10 or 15 rounds down range, and we pretty much have the identical rifle, scope, same load, setup, all that. So I let him run all these rounds down range, and he was just, everything but hitting this piece of steel, giving me all this information. So I sat down and threw my first round in the rifle, cold bore, dialed in, just pretty much maxed the scope out because I had to just, run the Vortex PST as far as it would go and then still hold 2 mils over. And I damn near center punched the target with the first shot. And I just turned around and looked at him like, so what's the big deal? And he was just so mad. He's like, I can't believe you hit that thing on the first shot. I wish we would have had film rolling, but we didn't. So funny story, though.
Walter, just so you're aware, you did kill your camera there. I don't know if you chose to do that, but we're seeing your logo.
Yeah. I just ran into a low battery mode. There we go. Does that work?
Yep, you're good. I was just making sure you were aware of that.
All right, well, tell you what, guys, I'm going to go grab a bite to eat real quick. The wife just informed me dinner's ready, but I will be back to join you guys here in just a bit.
Okay, sounds great, man.
All right, see you in a bit.
Right on.
Yep. So, Kenny, one of the things I've seen on your channel that was really impressive is you went out and you actually did a first round hit at 1,000 yards. Is that the furthest first round impact you've ever had?
Yeah. and I didn't even know I hit it. I took the video down back when it was the YouTube scare. I'm probably just going to repost it. Yeah, that's basically my cruise hit, first round impact, and honestly, it was pure luck because I still consider myself a noob with hand loading, and that's when I was really a noob. So, uh, for some reason, it worked out. I mean, I had that Sturlock app that told me to dial up. It was I like to say it was 32 MOA, and I just had the windage right, possibly, and it just nailed the first shot. And that's after warming up the barrel. I was doing a total target test, so I warmed up the barrel that way, and I was figuring out my tracking on my scope, and I nailed it at first round. You also did the same. I think it was like 10 videos ago. You nailed it the first try.
Yeah. So just getting on this whole subject of first round impacts, going out and shooting quite often and liking long range is what I do. First round impacts are actually pretty tough. Even like I took my 6.5 Creedmoor out with that tracked optics, and even at 350 yards, I missed my first shot at 350 on a 14-inch plate, which is pretty sad. But it went just over the top. I'm talking like maybe a half inch over the top. Ended up missing that. So previously to my best first round impact was 725 yards, and that was with my 243 14-inch plate, so just about 2 minutes away, and that was way out in the desert. That was a lot of fun. I think we had like a 5 to 10 mile an hour wind that day. Got lucky with that one. And then recently, I took out my 224 Valkyrie for the first time at long range at 1,000 yards. I had never shot it past 100 yards. I had punched in a ballistic calculator, went out to 1,000 yards, and I ended up getting my first round hit at 1,000, first shot beyond 100 yards with 224 Valkyrie. And currently, that's my best first round impact out there. And Johnny's Reloading Bench was on the live stream at one point. This is a while ago, and he was telling me that if he had access to a range like I had, that's what he would go practice, is see how far, basically see what he could get first round impacts on, just set up targets at all sorts of intervals and just see how fast he could get dialed in on a plate of steel, which is a great idea. And I need to do that more often, especially if I want to get into hunting. I want to be more confident going out and taking a shot for hunting.
Yeah, that's actually a really great point. A lot of folks that are in the long range shooting also do big game hunting, and they're taking down deer and stuff at 400 plus yards, and you want that first shot to land right on target. That way you don't scare all the rest of them off. I've seen you do your F-class shooting where it was a one match where basically they had random targets set up at a random range, and you had to do your own basically your own calculations. I believe that's what was going on.
I haven't done an F-class match like that. Not quite. Usually at F-class matches, they're all a designated distance. There's a different style called Palma, and there's one out west of where I'm at. And Palma is where you have like 600, 800, 900, and 1,000, and you shoot those progressively further and further out. I think what I was talking about is I hadn't done load development on my AR-15 from the barrel you sent me, and I just went out there and guessed where it was going to be, and I ended up getting it on paper. But for the F-class match, they give you some sighters to get on target. I did that, and I was able to get fairly close to the 10 ring, which is it's always fairly close for me. It's never like, oh yeah, I'm dialed into the 10 ring now. Some funny stuff. I've been out to F-class matches, and I'm sitting there and I'm dancing all around the X ring, and you feel like you're just shooting a shotgun at the thing. And then when you back out and you look at your group, it's not terrible. But there's a guy there shooting a 280 Remington, which is like the head of the class for F-class match right now. And he came up, and I was scoring him, and it was just X, 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 10, 10, 10. And at the end, he looked at me. He's like, what's my score? And I was like, I think you missed 2 points. And I told him, you missed 2. And he's like, are you kidding me? I missed 2, which to me is hilarious about that. But at the same time, maybe that's the mentality it takes to go out and punch X's every single time. and I've seen guys do it there. Out of 60 rounds, they've missed a 6-inch circle. I think they dropped 2 to 4 rounds or something like that. They're hitting a 6-inch circle 60 times in a row, no matter what the wind's doing during their strings and all that. It's really impressive. And F-Class is just super fun. If anybody out there has an F-Class match remotely close to your place, I highly suggest going out there. The people that I've dealt with have been awesome. They've all been super helpful. And the match director where I'm at's a great dude. He shoots as well, and he just makes it fun.
Yeah. Unfortunately, where I live, I'm pretty close to Las Vegas. So I could actually, there's a lot of competition going on, and that's mostly one of the reasons why I got into the 6.5. That way I could get into some F-Class shooting, and it's progressed from there. And another reason why is because reloading for the 6.5 it's a lot cheaper than getting to the bigger bore calibers. But yeah, it looks like a really fun experience. I helped my friend build his 6mm Remington Magnum, and he does F-Class shooting. He also does it with a 330 Lapua. I forgot what class that they situate him in because it's a bigger bore caliber. And he always tells me all the challenges, and he's the same way. Oh man, I missed 1 point, and I'm like, dude, really? Bro, you're nailing a freaking 4-inch target at 1,000 yards every single time, but one time at 10 shots. I don't know what else to tell you. That's amazing. But I guess, like you're saying, that's the mentality you got to go for if you want to be top. But,
yeah, there's a lot of like racers. Like I've seen motocross guys, and that's kind of how they are. They come across super cocky, but it really is the mentality aspect that's how you get to the top, is by thinking that you are the top. That's how you get there. So
yeah,
that's not a bad way to go about it. But I like to show up, just make friends. It's kind of a personal challenge for me, and I like seeing what I can do. It's a good way to test your own hand loads and all that. So that's more why I'm there. Like I went to an F-Class match with the 223 and 75 grain boat tails. That's not the ideal setup, but you know what? It's fun. And it was less expensive because you're shooting 60 rounds. 60 rounds of 7mm WSM isn't cheap.
Yeah, I bet. What are you loading, about 60 grains, 65 now on that thing?
66 grains of Rotumbo will get me 2,900 feet a second.
Yeah, and Rotumbo powder over here, it's been talked about quite a bit, and they're saying it's like a ghost, like 4350. It's hard to get for some reason over here.
That's interesting. Hey, I saw you were interested in getting some 4350 the other day. If you're really interested, I'll check some shops around here. I've been lucky enough to see it on the shelves, and I can send some your way if you need it.
Oh, awesome, dude! Yeah, I was waiting for a mid-south shooter to go with that no hazmat, and they did recently. I was just going to buy an 8-pound jug of it and go from there, but
I walked into a great big store here, the Shields, and they had 4 8-pound jugs sitting in the open, like they were trying to get rid of them, like it was they had too much 4350.
That's nuts. And that's the funny part. There's only one shop here that really has reloading supplies, which is very unfortunate. But there's like 20 gun shops, and everybody is buying guns left and right. Every time I walk in there's a line of people just buying guns. I'm like, well, no one here reloads. It's kind of nuts. It's kind of a niche market, man. And then they look at me asking for powder. They're like, what's this young buck know about reloading? I'm like, so it's kind of a weird experience, but you get to meet some people too, and then they get to see that, oh shoot, this guy actually is legitimately into reloading, and you start making friends that way. And I've been making friends with a lot of the older guys here, so it's kind of cool. But they talked me into getting a Smith and Wesson, so that's what I bought. Other than that 460.
By the way, Uncle Jim's asking you to change the channel. And then JCM45 comes back in and later and says, Uncle Jim, I don't think they're looking at our comments. So I'm looking, but apparently Uncle Jim wants something more suitable for his tastes.
I told you, I knew I was going to be boring. That's why I had the TV going. So what do you want to watch, Uncle Jim?
Yeah, let's open up a few more questions. I'll pay attention to the comments real quick. Sure. Anybody in here wants to add? JH586 says, yeah, Kenny, I wish you'd been he was reloading when he was your age.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it seems like almost everybody you talk to is an older guy, and they talk about having been reloading for 30 years, and that eventually that's going to be me, I guess. I mean, I'll be an old dude who's been reloading forever.
Yeah, it's a dying art, it seems like, and a lot of folks are getting into just the hype of the guns. Basically the gun craze. Okay, 224 Valkyrie came out. All right, what's the best AR for it? Which one's going to shoot the best out of factory rounds? Well, come to find out, factory loaded rounds aren't match ammunition. I don't care what anybody says. I took apart some five different name brands, and I'm not going to name them out there, but they're not as tight tolerances as most people think, and that was a big shocker to me.
Yeah, and
They shoot.
I've got my components to put the Valkyrie together, but talking about how I just haven't been shooting, I haven't really been motivated to do it. I've still got everything I need to do. I need to trim some brass to get that up and running. So.
Yeah. You know what? Well, Uncle Jim mentioned the TV. My kids lost a remote, so I guess you're stuck with whatever's on there. I mean, that's
your German Shepherd's mouth. It might be there.
Speaking of that, yeah, she actually chewed the remote, and I'm losing a couple buttons. So that's funny you say that too.
My buddy is a German Shepherd, and he killed 3 separate people's remotes, which is hilarious because it wasn't just his own remotes. He would take his dog places, and then he would destroy the remotes there, which I really laughed at. My parents had a chewed up remote for like months before they finally got a new one.
Yeah, there she is right here. I'll tell you what, man, it's rough being in the trailer with a full-size dinosaur like that.
That's a good one.
Yeah, so.
So you were talking about how reloading is dying out. I'm actually completely self-taught, if you can call it that. I learned all from YouTube, which I think there might be a big surge in that happening to other people. Is people learning from the internet, which has really been awesome. Which is too bad YouTube's trying to slow it down. But I mean, I watched Johnny's Reloading Bench, Reloading from Beginner series, and he goes through every single little problem that you really could run into. Like in that series, he seats a bunch of primers sideways and upside down that legitimately looks like it's by chance, but I've never done that. So my point being is that I think people learn best from people who have made a mistake and they need to figure out how to problem solve. Like when he's having issues in his videos, that seems to be when we learn the most. So I appreciate him doing stuff like that and even making videos like that. So other people with channels need to take note of that. If something doesn't go absolutely perfect, it's a great opportunity for a lot of people to learn. It's a great way to go. Even personally, I don't really show a whole lot of my mistakes. I need to start doing that. But I think it helps a lot of people out that maybe they've made that mistake and they're looking for an answer, but it's just nowhere to be seen because maybe some people are too proud to put it out there.
Yeah, and that's why I encourage folks that are into reloading and just getting into it, if they have the opportunity and the motivation to just make a video. I think a lot of people out there are just wanting to get that first experience to see what are they going to go through.
Yeah.
We've been putting out videos for the last year, and you've been doing a lot longer. So I think a lot of folks, for me, I personally get intimidated with channels that have 5 Dylan presses in the background, and they're saying that they do this, and they, have all these other equipment. I'm like, how much focus are they really putting into that equipment, and have they mastered it? Is there information that they are sending to us valid? And that's what I question.
As far as a newbie getting into something that they document really well as a beginner, Uncle Jim did a fantastic series on casting lead. He goes through and just kind of does a daily, day-to-day, here's what I'm learning, here's what I'm working on, and he does really excellent. Not having casted lead, when I start getting into it, those are the videos I'm going to reference and go watch when I have a question or problems. Obviously, I can text both of you guys, but I'm definitely going to watch Uncle Jim's videos again, and as well as 243 Outdoors. He's getting into that as well, and he's documenting his process as he goes, which is great. I think it'll help a lot of people that, like me, who just don't know yet, and when the time comes when they need to know, they're going to need to find the information, and those guys are putting it out there. So at least it's accessible.
Well, I was fortunate enough about 20 years ago when I got into casting. I had started a new job that I'm still currently with, and I met a guy there who was, considerably older than me, but talk about having just hands-on experience, having a mentor, like you guys said, for casting bullets and reloading and stuff. It was an eye opener, and it was wonderful. You learn something. I think you learn more from people just face to face than you can just from reading books or watching videos. So it's nice to have people that can kind of help show you along the way.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference between then and now. Is now, like, I was able to get on the internet and get a virtual tour of somebody showing me how to reload, but whereas before the internet and everybody had this great community on here, you had to have somebody around who was willing to teach you. Like, maybe you knew a guy who reloaded, but if he
Right.
didn't want to teach you, you're not going to learn how to reload.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same way too. I learned a lot on YouTube reloading, but then when you get into casting, there's a lot of lost information that's in pamphlets and old Phil Sharp's manuals and stuff that are vintage. And there's a lot of great information that I've been actually picking up lately. Even with the paper patching, going back into my uncle's notes, which I haven't cracked open his reloading book, and it's been 26 years. I haven't touched that thing until now, and just going back over the notes now, when I read it back there, well, yeah, well, when I'm reading them now, it's just nuts how much information was back then, how much experimenting these folks put out, which is not on the internet.
Well, online with the whole cast bullet thing, I really want to give a shout out to artfulbullet.com.
Yeah.
Man, there is just a wealth of resources on that forum. A lot of really, really smart guys. There's world class shooters and bullet casters on that site that hang out, and they're more than happy to share freely their information, their experiences. Some of these guys have been at this for over half a century. And man, I've learned just a ton. I thought I knew a lot in the past 15 years of doing what I've been doing just on my own. But yeah, the last 5 years, I probably learned more in 5 years than I had in 15 years doing, just researching stuff myself. But give them a look, artfulbullet.com. And just an enormous resource information there.
Yeah.
Something kind of about our reloading community here as well is, I mean, I'm sure back in the day, people would be experimenting on their own, and you could have a bunch of people scattered across the country that were all experimenting on the same thing. But now that we've got a media to connect each other, like the silicone versus wire mesh basket and powder coating, as simple as that is, an experiment, and then all of a sudden this big explosion of everybody's opinions of how that works and which one's better. Like, that's a great source of information just to be able to say, hey, I don't know how this is going to turn out. And then everybody goes out and tries it. And then you have this huge amount of information.
Well, this is a new one on me. I've only ever used the wire basket, and I get all these little marks all over my bullets. So who makes silicone baskets? I need to buy one. Try that out.
Doing that on a cookie tray. That's the idea.
All right.
That was the debate. But Johnny's Reloading Bench did one. Elvis Ammo did one. Did Loads of Bacon end up doing that?
You know what? Let me say something here real quick, and you guys can probably relate to this. Johnny's Reloading Bench, Elvis Ammo, God bless them. They got a lot of great info out there, but and Aaron and I try to avoid this at all costs. But if I'm scrolling through YouTube videos, anything that's much past 20 minutes, I tend to just skip right over because I want concise, to the point. Yeah. Give it to me in a 6 to 8 minute package. And I know some of our videos have gone over, some of your guys's do, but you guys keep it all pertinent information, and I can appreciate that. Elvis Ammo, love the guy to death, but boy, you need to set his your speed at like 4 times, just because God bless the people from North Carolina, wherever the hell he's from. But hey, you two. You know, I'm like, I don't got time for this, buddy. So skip. And, you know, other reloading videos, hour and 45 minutes, not even going to give you a look. I'm sorry. Keep it short, keep it sweet, to the point, get all the info out there in a concise, manner. Please.
So I've done it both ways. On my 243 series, I broke it down into individual sections where I was like, here's primers, here's powder. So I did stuff like that. But then I also know that there's people who like the long videos. So like my brass prep videos over the last couple of weeks have been pretty long. They're long videos. But you get comments both ways to where like, but also there's a lot of guys who are reloading and they're not even paying attention to the video. They just like to listen to reloading stuff while they reload. And I'm one of them. I'll put on videos and
well, I guess that makes sense. I guess I never really thought about it that way. I'm looking at it, I guess, my narrow-minded point of view. I just want the info. And I even hated some of our videos. That one of the last ones I posted was like 24 minutes, and I was like, good grief, no one's going to want to watch this. 24 minutes? Me yammering on about cast bullets in the 30-06, but surprisingly, I've got, a little bit of love, as far as the comments go anyway.
That was a good video. I'm going to admit the one of them that I actually watched the whole thing, and it helped my time go by. I was sitting there just watching colors change at the railroad, which is a lot of fun, I'll tell you right now. So that made time go by, so I really appreciate that. And I actually got a lot of knowledge for my session when I get into the cast lead bullet. But what you're saying, it's very valid. Making videos that are just rambling, I've done in the past. I sometimes still do it, but I've been trying to cut short and get to the point. That way, people have more enjoyment with the video. But mostly what I'm doing it for is just for my kid. That way he can come by and say, hey, my dad shot 1,000 yards and have fun with it,
Yeah, absolutely.
It's to me, like I always tell people, if people are creators, if this YouTube is no longer fun, stop doing it, and don't make it an obligation. And your family's always first, of course, but it's fun to show. There's just so much information with reloading, and all three of us can agree that we just want to share what we know.
Yeah.
Let me ask, the more I learn about reloading and all that, it's harder for me to make shorter videos just because I'm trying to share all the information I know about it. You guys?
Well, I guess there's something to be said for that too, because I always forget that I get this tunnel vision sometimes, like I'm making videos for all of my peers, and I feel like I'm not saying anything that everyone doesn't know. And my brother's the one who always reminds me, dude, you got, there's a lot of new people to this hobby watching these too. So go ahead and explain what you might think is remedial or basic information, because someone's going to find it useful. So I always got to try to keep that in mind too.
Yeah, of course.
So here's something interesting. So speaking of what you're talking about, talking to your peers versus other people, I'm on my analytics for my YouTube. This is watch time of people who are subscribed versus not subscribed. 5.6% of my watch time are subscribers. 94% are not subscribed.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So when you're talking, it's a good thing to go into detail just because that really is how it is. And I mean, I've got 6,000 subscribers right now. So there's a decent amount of shooters who are watching my stuff, but it's still 95% aren't subscribed to me who are watching the videos. So
well, I guess that really kind of sheds some new light on it then. Maybe I'll rethink how we do some of our videos then, because like I said, I always just assume that anyone who's watching this has at least a fair grasp on the subject, and I don't want to bore them with the, just the bare essentials, but maybe I need to rethink my, some of my video planning.
Speaking of something similar to this, do you guys ever watch videos that you already know? So like I'll watch a how to reload 223 video. I already know that, but I'm just looking for the little tiny things that I might pick up along the way. You guys ever do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Sure.
And it's literally just because I want to see everybody else's view and how they do it. I really enjoy that. And I've watched a bunch of videos where you were talking about how it just drags on and I'm not learning anything, but then I'll pick up that little tiny thing from that video and I'll apply it to mine, and that made it worth it.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I kind of think about it myself too. Like when I'm trying to fix my truck or something, or trying to fix a car, you find a YouTube channel and all of a sudden, oh man, it has the information you need. I find myself never subscribing to them, but the information you gathered is there, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, just to go off point for a second, God bless the people that take the time to make the videos for the most random, weird things. When my washing machine breaks and I can find a quick fix it video, it's like, really, you
right?
took the time to make a 5-minute video on how to fix my washing machine? That seems silly, but God bless you for doing it.
you know what? It was there for when you needed it, and it's awesome that it's there.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly.
YouTube's
I,
a great source of information, and it's crazy the ridiculous things you'll find on there.
You can
Like,
find anything on YouTube.
I need to replace the CV joint on my 2009 Toyota Tacoma 4-wheel drive. There's the video. It's there.
Yep, yep.
Um,
Kenny, I don't know what's going on with your camera, bud, but all I'm seeing is your logo. There you
you know
go.
what? Yeah.
Now I see you.
Yeah. The wife and kids were calling me. I must have cut me off, so that was funny. And that's the unfortunate thing about YouTube. It is the number one source of information, and for some reason they're targeting us. But we got places like YouTube. I know West Desert Shooter has been all over that. I need to get on board with that. I just been backing up my videos. I just honestly just don't have the time to go to YouTube and upload it. I've been BitChute's been auto saving my videos as well when I upload to YouTube. I've been trying to get more involved with the Reloaders Network and writing articles, but again, time is just not of my essence right now, and it's
Yeah,
hard.
I'm right there with you. The time's a big factor.
Yeah,
We're so new to the whole YouTube thing. If they want to shut us down, by all means, go ahead and do it. It's not going to hurt my feelings a bit. We're up on the Reloaders Network. There's a lot of other avenues out there now, and I could easily rebuild as opposed to someone like Logan who has a big established fan base out there in YouTube land. But you're right, it is a bunch of BS how they're going about their business.
yeah. He blew up his channel. I remember it being like just over 2,000. I'm like, wow, what the heck, 6,000? What did you do, dude?
and a big part about that is it's just posting videos consistently. That's like I watched another car channel. It's the Smoking Tire, and I listened to his podcast, and he talked about how people always come up to him and they always ask him, "I want to start a car channel. How do I do it?" And he says, "Here's my advice: start making videos, continue making videos." And that's all there is to it. If you want to have a channel like this, which you guys are both doing, you're making videos and you're posting videos. But I had a schedule I was following pretty strictly for a while, and it was Mondays and Fridays. Once I get back to shooting again more often, it'll go right back to Mondays and Fridays.
Yeah, and honestly, we talked about it earlier. I don't really look much at the subscribers anymore. And it's a lot of the camaraderie, the folks that I met, Jamie, Kyle, Uncle Jim, Tim, and everybody in the Reloaders Network, JCM. They're just genuinely good people, and
Yeah.
awesome. You guys, of course. So that's what I look forward to. Just building the friendship here and building knowledge together. We're able to see everybody's experience and build from there.
Yeah, Aaron and I's goal over the next few months is to try to. We almost kind of feel like we pigeonholed ourselves as far as this just precision, long range shooting, because that's what a lot of our videos, are about. But we really want to just get more into some casting videos, handgun stuff, revolvers, lever guns, because at our roots, that's more what we're about. We're pretty new to the whole long range rifle stuff too. We've only been doing it for about 4 or 5 years. And it's exciting. And, you guys know how addicting it is. I don't have to tell you that. But we want to try to just have a well rounded, you know, group of videos to choose from, just to hope to, gain a little bit more interest, but just also show people that we're into other things as well.
Yeah.
Honestly, even as big as my channel is, if you go into the comments within the first week of the video being posted, it's the same guys who've been there from day one. And it's about a group of 30 to 50 people, and it's everybody who's on the Reloaders Network. Those are the guys I really enjoy because they're giving genuine comments. They're really engaging. They follow along. They're really good, awesome people. You guys are included in that group. And if you're on the Reloaders Network, even if your post, I would rather have 50 followers or 50 people watch that than have 6,000 subscribers and have 150 people watch it.
Yeah, I agree.
And just how people follow along and how they comment on everything. Like, I know that they're watching the videos and they don't have to comment, but they do on every single video. And it's always a great comment. And I really enjoy that aspect of it. So
yeah, there's a handful of guys out there that some of the people that I follow, and just some guys that really know their stuff. I want to give one particular shout out. Anyone who really wants to know more about handgun stuff, Thor's Axe. That guy, he really seems like, he's a pretty smart fella. And obviously, don't need to mention Fortune Cookie. He's a real knowledgeable guy too. But Thor's Axe, that guy, he just seems like a cool cat. I'd like to meet him someday.
Yeah, he is cool. I kind of feel bad. There was one video guy I kind of blew up on him. It just got to me at about one certain comment, but honestly, I'm the kind of person that just shrugged it off, and I was like, it's just an accident, and he's just a cool person. So hopefully he's here and he understands that. Hey, man, I'm I love watching his videos, and even though he doesn't think so.
Yeah.
Something really great about Thor's Axe that I really like is when he comments, he's very thorough in his comments, as well as he'll offer suggestions, and he knows that I know how to shoot, but I really like people who still offer suggestions and they're genuine about it. If you're an ass, obviously I'm not gonna like you if you're like, you can do it this way. But even on Instagram, I follow he's an Army sniper. It's SRS Rifles. He actually has a YouTube channel as well where he talks about reloading 223 for AR-15s and whatnot. But he was noticing in my mile shoot that he could see my feet, and it's from this view. So you're looking at my face while I'm shooting, and he could see my feet moving around. And he's like, dude, get your damn ankles on the ground, widen out your legs. And then when I'm shooting, I was shooting like this. I was very angled. He says, straighten out your shoulders. So I went out there and I tried his advice. I squared up to the rifle. I had my rifle coming straight out of my shoulder, as well as I kept my feet flat and my legs spread out better. And I shot a ragged hole with ammunition that I didn't think shot that good, when really it was me not shooting good. But I'll take your advice if it's good, and as long as you approach me correctly. And I really appreciate when people want to help, because that's all I'm doing YouTube videos for, is just trying to help others.
Absolutely.
I'm not above being helped myself. And
yeah.
I like that, because where I think I know what I'm doing, there's always room to grow. And that's a big important part, is you need to have an open mind about trying new things. Maybe you're not doing something as good as you could be.
Well, and that's one thing that we all need to remember and understand in the sport we're in, is the learning never stops.
Yeah. I learned from from what you're telling me, Walt, about 16x is good enough for a mile, and I was like, you know what? Wes as a shooter did the same thing. He compared, hey, 16x is just a perfect sight picture for what you want to do for long range. I've been adamant about shooting a 24x. I'm like, let me try it out, and that's what I settled on with that SWFA scope. And I'm like, that's honestly just practicing your fundamentals and keeping your rifle still. And 16x is perfect for what you want to do. For me, at least, I got young eyes still, so
enjoy them while you can.
Yeah, I'll see how that lasts.
I'm scared for the day that my vision starts to go. because I know it's good now. So once it starts to go, at least I'll have more excuses.
Yeah. We'll get those scopes that will fire the trigger when it lines up the red dots, I guess.
Hey, back to some of these other guys real quick too. Just Thor's Axe, JCM 45. Is it just me, or do those guys have some of the best speaking voices you've heard?
I honestly, I want to hire JCM just to narrate my videos.
Right?
The dude's just awesome. You know, I mentioned it before. It was a smooth jazz type of voice.
Right.
I don't know if you took offense with it or not, but I thought it was good.
I cringe every time I hear my own voice on video. I'm like, oh God, you sound like crap. But some of these guys, man, they're just made for YouTube.
Oh yeah. Just talk to his agent. Oh yeah. Make it happen, JCM. We got Bubble Boy featuring a narration from JCM. Okay, we can make it happen.
I think Jim has a good voice too. I think I could listen to his videos for a long time. Obviously, JCM. It's funny that you say that because I was just joking around thinking of trying to make a funny video, and I was like, what if I had JCM do my voiceover? Like how I write for the Reloaders Network, I'll do the written word and then have him read it so that people can listen to it in his voice.
Yeah. Honestly, his videos, it just makes sense. It gets to the point, and I'm just like drawn to it. I don't know what it is. You know, no homo, of course, but.
You talking about Uncle? Are you talking about Uncle Jim?
Both. Uncle Jim did the Lyman Brassmith. That's
Oh, it's all about Ducky.
Yeah. Dang, I know, man. Everybody's getting Ducky. Nuts.
I want Ducky. Uncle Jim,
good, right?
If you're still out there, I'll take a Ducky.
Yeah, that's we got to talk to Tim about that one.
Don't skip over it. When JCM first came out, what he reminded me of was Loads of Bacon. Loads of Bacon has a fantastic channel. His voice work is absolute. It's probably the best voice work that I've seen. Like his videos of all of his cast hollow point bullets, the way that he gets through the information, it's perfectly clear. He never stops or says, That's a terrible habit I have. I'll get in the video. Yeah. And then the worst part is when I realize that I'm saying that, and then I'll only hear that in the video. It drives me crazy. I always get like some type of catchphrase as I go through a video. Like the other day, I was making this brass prep video, and I just got on the thing of "It's ready to rock and roll." I don't know why, but I said it in that video. It's the only time I've said it in a video, but in that video, I did it a bunch of times.
Speaking of rock and roll, and going back to JCM 45, I don't know about you guys and how much you know about music. I'm a guitar player, so JCM, that's a Marshall head, and I think I've even seen a Marshall stack in one of the photos or backgrounds of the videos of JCM 45. So I'm assuming he's a guitar player too. So he gets extra props in my book for being a fellow guitar player.
He did a video earlier this year where he went to a big music convention.
San Diego.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't think it was in Vegas. I was somewhere else, but yeah, he went to a great big music convention. It's like one of the biggest in the country or something like that. And he's definitely into music. I think he's in the music industry. But it's interesting you say that that's what his name is. I didn't know that. That's really interesting.
Yeah, like I said, that JCM, that's a Marshall head for an amplifier. Very high end stuff I wish I had.
Yeah, he's right. Anaheim's where it was, the NAM. Yeah, I think you have to be either affiliated in the music business in order to get in.
It's like
is that show called NAM? NAM?
Yeah. I always see it. Honestly, I always wanted to go. The only thing I ever played was the turntables.
You were a DJ?
Yeah, for a little bit. My brother was in Santa Barbara for college. Of course, that's a big party city. So I did a little.
My brother used to spin records. He was a DJ up in Portland, Oregon.
I did breakbeat and house techno.
Wow, you guys would have a lot in common.
Yeah, my brother, growing up, he had a drum set. I have a four brothers. And then my other brother was really good at guitar, and then I just got shorted of all musical talent. So I can hold I could hold a decent beat on the drums. My other brother was much faster because we liked metal, so he was better at that. But I played in school and all that. I was able to listen to music on my iPod and join along on certain songs. So I'm
awesome.
cool, but I'm not good.
That's funny. Small world. We all have all this other stuff in common.
Right. I'm in the cars too. I used to be a technician, and I love working on cars. And honestly, if it wasn't for me being so involved with guns, I'd show you guys how I'm turboing my truck right now with a rear mounted turbo and all that stuff. I don't know if anybody here is interested in that. I'll definitely put a little video on that.
Please do. I'm big into Toyotas. There's a company called STS that does rear turbos for Tacomas, so that's a really interesting system because there's just not enough room under the hood with those. Currently, Tacoma, on the right side of the engine bay, there's nothing there, so it's got all sorts of room for plumbing and turbos if I wanted to go.
I got two routes I'm gonna go. I'm gonna see what I could do with how much boost I could put on this. I got a 383 in it right now, and if I blow it up, well, I got a 502 waiting for it. So we'll see what I can do.
Are you gonna do cars or
Hey
trucks?
Kenny, what's the fella's name that made you that really cool wood carving? Was his name Shane?
Yes, name is Shane. It is OP25 TTFD. That's the video. It is a channel. I believe he's still here. He's a firefighter. And he just got into reloading as well. But he's doing a carbon. I was gonna put a little notice on Slack for folks to see if they want to contribute to get this guy an awesome carving machine. This guy has a lot of talent, and he's just making everybody's logo and shipping them out for free out of his own time. So to kind of pay it forward, I was just going to put an announcement out there to say, hey, if anybody wants to donate $5 or $6, let's get this guy a cool Forster machine or a carving machine. It's only like a couple $100, and it'll definitely save him some time.
That guy's got some skills, that's for sure.
Yeah. So I think we'll cap it around the 2-hour mark. Say 10 more minutes or so. Any last words you guys kind of want to get in? I don't want to take up all your guys' time.
No, I'm getting ready for bed, to be honest with you. I just want to say thank you to the both of you two for inviting me to join in on just such kind of last minute notice. It's been fun. I've watched several of these. Didn't know what it would be like to participate in one, but now I know. So that was fun. I guess if I have to say anything, stay tuned for, hopefully some more enjoyable videos coming from our direction. But I look forward to seeing what you guys got coming up in the future too.
Well, first off, dude, you're more than welcome to join in. I'm really glad that we can have you on here. It's interesting because this is the first time I've done the multiple person chat. It's a little bit, I guess I haven't been paying as much attention to the comments as I probably should have been. When you do it solo on your own live stream, it's really entertaining because it's just you in the comments. It's kind of like how Johnny's Reloading Bench does it. It feels like you're a little more engaged with the other people, but it's been really awesome to talk to you guys because I haven't been able to sit down and talk to you guys for 2 hours before like this. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's always a good experience, and I really, like I said, like what Walter's saying, thanks for inviting, and this is just awesome. We get to talk about guns. This is our passion. So, and then everybody here in the chat, we can't, I can't do this without the folks here, the viewers, and their encouragement. Everybody here has been so positive, and it's just been a great journey.
Absolutely, and anybody watching this part of the stream, I'm sure almost every viewer here is subscribed to both of you guys, but if you're watching this at a later point when it's not live anymore, please check out Eagle Eye Shooting. That's Kenny, who's been talking with us the whole time. He's got a great shooting channel, and then as well as Walter with Coats Brothers Firearms. He's also got his brother Aaron, who gets in on his videos as well. They shoot 38 Lapuas and 6.5 Creedmoors over a mile. Kenny shoots his 15 over 1,000 yards, and he's working on a 6.5 Creedmoor right now. I'm sure he's going to be in the mile club soon. So
that's a big shoe to fill.
You can do it, Kenny.
I hope so.
I did get it done on my attempt, so you know what?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. You go out there, you give it a try, you'll find out if you're doing something wrong, and then it'll only make you want to get that done even more the next time.
Right.
Not making it the first time gave me all the motivation I needed to get out there and get it done the second time.
Right, right.
Well, I guess for me, what I got going on my next video is I'm continuing my series, of course, and I'm basically going to be showing off this little tool here, and it's the concentricity gauge. And what I'm finding out with just buying this tool, against lead dyes and all that, and doing some brass prepping and finding out what's actually making a difference with your hand loads. You know, as everybody knows, brass prepping is probably the most important stage with getting accurate ammunition. So I'm going to keep it pretty simple, to the point, much as I can, and then spread the information out with little time as possible. And hopefully, whatever I come up with the is it the 4451 powder, I could take that out to a mile. That's my goal.
Excellent.
That'll be awesome. And as far as my channel, I've got to get some 224 Valkyrie physically loaded. I've got all my brass prepped. Just need to load that up and then go do some load development with it. And then my Creedmoor, I've got a couple more test rounds I wanted to do, and then I want to get out and take that out to a mile again, just because it's fun. And I want to see how my new and improved load development does at a mile compared to what it was before. Because I went from like 14 feet a second standard deviations and 1 inch groups down to about a ½ inch group with standard deviations around 8 to 10. And now I've got them down around 4 or 5, and they're shooting into a ragged hole. So I want to see how that translates at a mile. I think it should work out pretty well.
Yeah. Excellent.
I want to get multiple hits on target this time. That's my goal.
There you go. All right, you guys. Well, hey, once again, thanks for having me on, and I'm gonna go ahead and bail out here and call it a night. But it was enjoyable visiting with you guys, and please have me back again sometime soon. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely, door's always welcome for you, man. I appreciate you.
Right.
Thanks to everybody for watching as well. The viewers are not noticed. You are appreciated, is what I'm trying to say.
Check you guys later.
All right, see you later, Walter. Kenny, you got last words, buddy?
Yeah, thank you, boss.
Yeah,
that was fun.
You're always welcome here as well. So we'll see you guys later. I'm going to stop broadcast now if I can figure out how to do it.